Greetings and salutations. Today we're going to be examining the phenomenon of cattle mutilations, mostly focusing on the controversial claims made by one Linda Moulton Howe. While some proponents argue that cattle mutilations are evidence of extraterrestrial involvement or government conspiracies, today we'll be separating fact from fiction and be heavily scrutinizing Linda Moulton Howe's reputation for selling very questionable stories. Cattle mutilations, the gruesome and mysterious deaths of livestock, have captivated the imagination of conspiracy theorists and UFO enthusiasts for decades now. Linda Moulton Howe has been a prominent figure in the world of paranormal and unexplained phenomenon, and she has played a very significant role in popularizing these very claims. However, her reputation has long been tarnished by allegations of promoting completely and totally fake stories to maintain her status and credibility in the field. We'll be critically examining the phenomenon of cattle mutilations with a particular focus on Linda Moulton Howe's involvement. After all, Linda Moulton Howe has made more money promoting stories about cattle mutilations being an alien harvest than anyone else on Earth. We will attempt to discern the veracity of her claims and address the question of whether cattle mutilations, like many other stories that she has sold, has been somewhat orchestrated or completely and totally fake and not what she reports them to be. Cattle mutilations typically involve the discovery of dead cattle with surgically precise incisions, removed organs, and a lack of apparent predators or scavengers in the vicinity. One other factor seems to be a complete and total absence of blood in the carcass. Theories surrounding these incidents range from natural causes such as scavenger activity or diseases to more extraordinary claims like those of Linda Moulton Howe, involving aliens or extraterrestrial beings or some kind of secret government experiments. Linda Moulton Howe is a well-known advocate for the idea that the cattle mutilations are somehow connected to alien activities. Her work in documentaries, books, radio shows, and podcasts has garnered a significant following, but has also raised eyebrows in the skeptical community. One of the main criticisms of Linda Moulton Howe's involvement in the cattle mutilation phenomenon is the lack of concrete evidence to support her various claims. Many of these incidents she presents as evidence of extraterrestrial involvement somehow, but they can often be explained by more prosaic causes, such as natural decomposition processes, predation, or even simple hoaxes. More on that in a moment. Howe's reliance on anecdotal evidence and eyewitness testimonies from, let's just say, less than credible people has been a point of contention in the scientific community. These stories are often devoid of concrete proof and are subject to human error, bias, or misinterpretation. Without empirical evidence to support her claims, Howe's credibility is significantly weakened. Recently, I put out a call on our show here to see if anyone had any more information about Linda Moulton Howe and these cattle mutilations. I was completely and totally shocked by some of the people that started contacting me and what they were telling me, but more on that later. A critical aspect of Linda Moulton Howe's involvement in the cattle mutilation phenomenon is her perceived profit motive. After all, Linda Moulton Howe has made more money from these cattle mutilation stories than anyone on Earth. Critics argue that she has a vested interest in continuing to perpetuate sensational stories as they attract attention, increase book sales, and boost her media presence. This raises questions about the authenticity of her claims and her commitment to actual objective investigation of these events. Skeptics argue that many cattle mutilations can be explained by natural processes, including scavenger activity, decomposition, and many environmental factors. Moreover, investigations by law enforcement agencies have often found mundane explanations for these incidents, such as predator activity. The phenomenon of cattle mutilations remains a mysterious and intriguing subject. While Linda Moulton Howe has played a significant role in promoting the idea of extraterrestrial involvement in these events, her reputation is marred by allegations of often selling fake stories for personal gain. The lack of concrete evidence, reliance on anecdotal accounts, and alternative explanations for cattle mutilations all cast doubt on the credibility of her claims. But nothing, my friends, would cast more doubt on her previous reporting of these cattle mutilation events than what some recent people have been contacting me and telling me. Now we may have finally solved the mystery of the cattle mutilations. Thanks to several courageous whistleblowers, we may finally have an answer to this decades-old mystery. Was it really aliens that did this to these cows? What if there's a much simpler but more sinister explanation for what happened to those cows? What if, my friends, what if Linda Moulton Howe murdered those cows so that she could have new alien stories to sell? Sound crazy? It's no more crazy than somebody claiming that aliens killed and mutilated those cows and drained them of blood. Recently, I put out a call to action on my show, encouraging anybody that knew any information about Linda Moulton Howe and what really happened to those cows to contact me. I was shocked by what people started contacting me and telling me. Several courageous whistleblowers have now come forward, and I believe that we may have finally solved the mystery of what really happened to those cows. These brave whistleblowers still live in total fear of Linda Moulton Howe, and after you hear what they have to say, you'll understand why. Several whistleblowers about these cow murders have agreed to come forward and tell their story, as long as we protect their identity. Now, friends, let's get into solving this mystery of what really happened to those cows.
In a shocking turn of events, we bring you an exclusive interview with an individual allegedly involved in a bizarre case. A suspect has emerged, accused of being paid $200 to commit an unusual and disturbing act, the killing of a cow using an old wooden-handled shovel. The identity of the suspect has been concealed for safety reasons.
Good evening. We appreciate your willingness to speak with us. To start, could you confirm whether you were involved in the incident where a cow was killed using a wooden-handled shovel?
Yes, I was unfortunately involved in that incident.
Can you tell us what led you to accept such a bizarre and disturbing offer?
Well, times have been tough, and I was desperate for money. I never imagined I'd find myself in a situation like this. When an old lady offered me $200 to carry out this act, I was like, hell, yeah, I could use the money for my family.
And did the old lady provide any reasons for wanting this gruesome act committed?
She claimed it was some sort of vendetta against the cow's owner. I didn't question her motives. I was blinded by the promise of quick money.
But why did you agree to carry out such a cruel act?
I did have reservations, of course. I knew it was wrong, but desperation can make people do things they'd never imagine. I tried to convince myself that it was just a cow, but deep down, I knew it was a terrible mistake.
Can you walk us through the events of that fateful day?
It was a dark night, and I met the old lady near the barn. She handed me the shovel and pointed to the cow. My heart was racing, and I hesitated for a moment. But the thought of the money pushed me to do the unthinkable. I approached the cow and, well, you know the rest.
What emotions did you experience during and after the act?
Regret, guilt, and shame consumed me. As soon as it was done, I realized the enormity of my actions. I felt sick to my stomach, and I knew I could never undo what I had done.
Have you been in contact with the old lady since the incident?
No, I haven't. She paid me the money, and I've been trying to distance myself from the whole ordeal. I've been haunted by my actions ever since.
The alleged incident involving the cow's killing remains a disturbing mystery.
I was working as a farmhand in 1979. One night, I saw this strange lady near the barn. She had a big shovel, and she was looking at the cows in the field next to the barn. It was like 3 in the morning, so I wondered what she was doing. I watched her for a bit as she kept looking over the group of cows nearest the barn. I'm sure she didn't see me watching her. The next thing I knew, she ran up to one of the cows and just clocked it in the head with a shovel. The cow was stunned and went down. I was shocked and speechless. I didn't know what to do. I got some binoculars out of my trailer and got a closer look. I couldn't believe it. It looked like she hit it so hard that the cow literally dropped dead. What happened next was shocking. It looked to me like she was cutting the lips and the asshole out of the cow with some kind of big knife. Then she hooked up some kind of portable pump and pumped all the blood out of the cow, spraying it around the field. Finally, I had had enough. I ran up to her yelling. She was so calm I couldn't believe it. She pulled a bunch of $100 bills out of her pocket and handed it to me. She said I was never here, you never saw me. I'll come back soon to report on this story, and you won't ever say anything about what you saw tonight. I didn't know what to say. Then she told me, you can take the money and live, or I can hit you harder than I hit that cow with this shovel. I just nodded and said okay. A few days later, the same lady was back on the farm with a film crew. She started saying aliens mutilated that cow and drained it of all its blood. Later I found out she sold the story and similar stories of dead cows for a huge amount of money. The day she was there with the film crew, she got me aside and gave me a few more $100 bills. She then threatened me that if I ever told anyone what really happened to that cow, she'd kill me and my whole family with that same big shovel. I found out later she paid off lots of ranchers and others in the area to pull off this aliens mutilated cow scam. I knew it was a lie and a scam, but if you had seen how hard she hit the cow she killed, you would probably keep your mouth shut too. What kind of woman can just crack a cow in the head with a shovel and kill it? Not the kind of woman I want to mess with. I never said anything about what really happened to those cows. Until now. It's time people know the truth. Linda Moulton Howe? She killed some of those cows with a shovel with her very own hands. I saw it myself. Other rumors spread in this area after all these cows turned up dead. People said sometimes she just paid guys desperate for money to kill cows or help her kill cows. All the cows that died ended up in her fake alien stories. She really cashed in on this. Book deals, documentary film deals, speaking engagements. She's been cashing in on these cow murders for years. I just want people to know the truth. Linda Moulton Howe killed those cows. There is absolutely no evidence at all that aliens did it. Those cows were murdered to sell her fake alien stories. Linda knows it's true. I hope she's too old to retaliate against me now. People deserve to know the truth. She killed those cows with a shovel, or paid other people to help her kill those cows.
This strange lady approached me one late night. She offered me $300 to kill a cow. I asked her what she had against cows, and she said that wasn't my concern. I asked her how I was supposed to kill the cow, and she handed me a big metal shovel and told me not to be a pussy about it. She told me to sneak up to a cow and just clock it in the head as hard as I could. I knew it was wrong, but what can I say? I needed the money. She pointed to the nearby field where the cows were grazing. She was walking right beside me. She said something about what a great story this was going to make and how much money she would make from this. She kept telling me, do it. Do it. She kept handing me more money and saying, "Don't be a pussy, do it." I snuck up behind the cow and I hit it as hard as I could with the shovel. The cow went down. I checked and it was definitely dead. The next thing I knew, this crazy lady pulled out a big knife and started cutting parts of the cow off of it. She went to her car and got some kind of pump and cut open the cow and inserted some kind of tubes. I asked her what she was doing and she kept mumbling, "Not a drop of blood, not a drop of blood." She ran another hose from the pump into a ditch and drained the cow of all its blood. She told me if I told anyone what we did she'd kill me and drain me of my blood too. I believed her because she seemed so crazy. I kept my mouth shut. She came back the next day with the film crew and started filming. Later I found out she made a ridiculous amount of money selling stories about the cows being mutilated by aliens. I couldn't believe it. Later I found out she murdered or paid people to murder cows all over the area. Apparently, with every murdered cow she did the same thing, come back later and claim that aliens did it somehow. I still can't believe she got away with this for so long. This is why I'm finally speaking out. This Linda lady should face justice for what she did to those poor cows. I'm sorry I helped her murder that cow. To this day, every time I see a cow or drink milk, I feel terrible about what I helped this Linda lady do. She murdered those cows to make money selling fake stories about aliens. Aliens didn't kill those cows. Linda killed those cows. Well, Linda, and people like me she paid to help her. I'm sorry I helped this crazy lady kill that cow. People deserve to finally know the truth about all those stories she sold for many years.
As time goes on, friends, more and more people are coming forward and telling the truth about what really happened to those cows and Linda Moulton Howe's involvement in those events. It seems clear from the amount of evidence that we have so far gathered that Linda Moulton Howe was responsible for the deaths of those cows. There is now much more evidence that Linda Moulton Howe killed those cows than there is evidence that aliens did it. Linda Moulton Howe has made perhaps millions of dollars claiming that aliens killed and mutilated those cows. But now we may have finally solved the mystery thanks to these courageous whistleblowers. Linda Moulton Howe killed those cows with a shovel, or she paid accomplices to kill those cows so that she could profit from these fake stories about aliens killing those cows. Linda Moulton Howe has made millions of dollars claiming it was aliens when she knew all along she killed those cows.